Hello, this is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. This video is for Oscar in New York, and this is part 14 of 500E project car that we're working on here. And today I finally started to work on suspension. And also I drained the gasoline because it was old, and just refreshed it with new gas. And right now, just want to show you the progress on driver's side. Now, not much left here. Everything is hanging on the strut, and also the strut itself, the mount, is disintegrated pretty much to none. It's like the whole thing in there, if you look, is just all ripped out. So we need to replace that. As you can see, that's just bad. But anyway, and the boot is missing also the dust shield. It's supposed to sit here, it's not here. So, and I also not seeing there's supposed to be like little triangle plastics here that's supposed to hold the bottom of the boot. But even if we don't have those, if it hangs from the top, that should be okay. I mean, the brakes are pretty thick, you can tell. You can see the brakes. So what do we have to do here? Basically, the major concern was ball joint on the bottom, and obviously tie rods, and they're bad. So just to show you what's happening here is, let's just move the suspension in this axis here. The brake hose, it's not the greatest. It's still here, but it's kind of like, you know, cracked and stuff. That I don't like a lot, because this is your brakes. So, but this is outer shield, of course, but still, that's the brake line. The tie rod, as we see it, it obviously is not looking good. There is a little bit of lubrication still inside tie rod, but that has to be replaced. In order for me to get ball joint out, I needed to bend the shield or remove it. So what I opted to do is I opted to bend it slightly, so there's space for ball joint to come out this way. Now, I did loosen it up though, and the reason for that is I wanted to look at the teeth for a speed sensor. As you can see, those little notches there, and when you move it away, you can blow it, you know, with compressed air. So it wasn't really super necessary, but I did it anyway just to get as much dirt as I could out of there, and it looks okay now. This is our speed sensor, which is like ridiculous. As you can see, you don't even see a pin, so obviously this is going to be cleaned off. After all these years, crap accumulates on it. So this is our pickup. As you can see, a little notch here. This is a pickup, so all of these pieces of metal over years, they accumulate. So it's obviously a good thing to clean the sensor. That's what I'm going to do. Now, sway bar is removed, of course, because to get suspension free travel. The spring is compressed and removed. So I'll show you the spring. I put it away because I don't want to keep the spring compressed near me, so just in case the tool gives out. But here's our spring. As you can see, pretty small now, but when you remove the tool, it becomes quite long. This is the gasoline in here. This is the vacuum, the pump to get all the old gas out. And we're gonna go and look at the ball joint right now. So here is what I had to do here. I didn't want to get into the braking system. That can always be done whenever, and that's no big deal. Same for the strut, because you put the spring back in, you secure the bottom of the vehicle, you can remove the strut. But the ball joint, all of this has to be done. So this is basically more involved of the job. I mean, you can even work with bushings on control arm on the bottom, but ball joint, because of the shield, you got to take all of this stuff out, move the shield out, so you can have space. Now, this is a version of control arm on E-Class that allows you to replace ball joint. It's actually presses in and out. Now, there are other ones that do not give you this option, the control arms. you have to buy a whole control arm with ball joint already installed. Now looking at this control arm, you can tell the control arm is in great shape. I mean, there are no rust spots or anything, so I don't see a reason to buy a whole new control arm just for the ball joint. And besides, I'm not actually even sure if control arm will come with ball joint or not, because again, ball joint is a separate piece that can be pressed in and out. So as you can see over here, you have a notch. You see how it's, and actually see that little notch here. This is part of the ball joint and this is the control arm, so these two are separate. Now on the newer control arm, the angle is also a little different, so that's the difference between control arm with built-in ball joint and the one that is not built in. Now the problem with this ball joint is very obvious. If you look inside, it's dried up, it's rusty, it's bad. This has to go. It's moving very freely in there. It's very dry. You can feel how it actually grinds inside. So obviously ball joint is your life. That has to be on point. So I want to do the ball joints like right now. I mean, I bought them, I have them, original dealer parts, because to go through all these lengths and do it again is not fun. What can I say about bushings? The bushings, I mean, obviously they're old, but they seem to be replaced at some point, because based on other bushings, you know, like you can see right here, like a little bit of a damage, so it appears that somebody drove them in there. Okay, so I think these still gonna last, because there's just surface cracks, but there is no internal or structural cracks. So that's gonna work still okay, because again, this car becomes very expensive project at this point. So if we don't have to replace it, we're not going to replace it. And I don't think we need to replace it, because these, as you can also see, a little bit of a damage over here. So that means that it appears somebody replaced them at some point ago in time. As also you can see a little damage over here by basically hitting on the control arm to press bushings out. Okay, so that all tells me that they were replaced at some point and they're not completely disintegrated. So definitely is pretty wise right now at this point to leave them, because change one for another, and we have still other things to do, so might as well to concentrate on most important things. So that's in terms of the bushings, and many people will say, yeah, you gotta do them this and that, but I don't know. I mean, it's just pressing them in and out for no reason is I don't see it being very reasonable at this point. Now the battery's gone low in my phone, so the flash just went out. So same pretty much story happens on this side. I don't think I'm going to make a video about this side, because no point, as it's exactly the same as on the passenger side, so we're just gonna do one. And again, the condition of the bushing over there, the actual strut mount is also pretty dire, so that has to be done. The brake line seems to be okay. It's decently okay. Well, for what it's worth. Same situation happens here with the tie rod on this side. So as you can see, it's split. There is a little bit of lubrication still in there. I would really want to replace these. And a ball joint on this side. I don't know if it can be shown, but it's pretty messy, and it's also split. So both ball joints are in order. So what I'm talking about for the shield is, as you can see, the ball joint is sort of inside there, so you can't really remove it. Maybe if you bang it like crazy, and I don't want to do that. I want to have it done as as neat as possible, so it never catches the brake rotor, so you don't have any noises. So therefore, I did all these lengths and remove everything, so I can bend it and I can bend it back and make it to be the same shape as it was when it was installed there. So that's the idea. Okay, so I think we're gonna be, you see, as if you look at this bushing right here, as you can see, it's pretty decent. I don't see any kind of crazy cracks or anything. Actually, definitely replacement ones. There's some surface cracks, as you can see, but that's like on top. They're not inside. Once suspension goes back down, it's going to compress, goes back up. So it'll be all right, I think. I think we should leave them for now. I mean, they can be replaced separately. You don't have to do all this work to get them out as to replace ball joints. You can just drop it down, hang the spring, drop the control arm down, press them in, push them out, done deal. Off you go. You basically have the arm hanging like this on the ball joint, and then you press your stuff in and out and then put it back in. Obviously it's easier to do when it's out, but whenever, I mean, I don't know, we'll see. I'll talk with the customer and we'll see what we decide. Okay, so I think I have to wrap this up because battery is really low, but so far so good. So this is part 14, I believe, of the video. Now what you see over here, this is some residual, I don't know what I was doing there, but it was leaking down. Oh, the oil filter housing valve. That's a little bit of oil residue. But again, this car needs to be all detailed and washed anyhow. So for now, I'm just moving forward. Okay, so this is going to be all. This is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. Thank you for watching.